Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, June 15th. Quite an interesting and still a very active weather pattern across much of the nation. Looks like we'll have a nice day today in the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast U.S., the Great Lakes dominated by high pressure. Probably just a rain-free day, but temperatures well up in the 80s for afternoon highs in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Then there's some energy that rolls through from the Great Lakes into the Mid-Atlantic region in the overnight hours. In the wee hours of the morning, there can be certainly some shower and strong thunderstorm development across upstate Pennsylvania, for example, that then moves to the south and east and could reach the I-95 corridor region late at night, going into the early morning hours on Thursday. Probably kind of a lull in the action Thursday morning and midday, but then another round of showers and thunderstorms, perhaps some strong thunderstorms for the northeastern quadrant of the nation Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. And finally another cold front. That is going to be associated with an initial cold front. Then a secondary cold front comes through later on Friday. And that'll pave the way for what looks like just a spectacular weekend in New England, in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the Great Lakes, with not only comfortable temperatures, but very comfortable humidity levels. It will be quite windy on both days, it looks like, Saturday and Sunday. Much of the northeastern part of the nation, winds out of the north or northwest, with Great Lakes high pressure dominating the scene. Meanwhile, at the same time, very hot weather is likely from basically the south central states all the way across the Midwest and into the southeastern states over the next several days. In some areas, triple-digit highs are quite likely. Let's start off by looking at WSI and telecast.com, the radar loop for this morning, and notice it kind of a rotation around the high pressure system. We know that, we'll see this in a moment, we know there's strong upper level region centered right over the Mississippi Valley. This is kind of the wind pattern around the perimeter of that high. Winds blow clockwise around high pressure systems. And I point this out because this area of showers and thunderstorms will just continue to drop to the south and east over the next several hours in that northwest flow right now, aloft over the Mid-Atlantic region, over the northeast U.S. And these are the showers and storms we'll have to watch for the I-95 corridor region for late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Could certainly be some loud thunderstorm activity in the overnight hours, after midnight certainly, in parts of the Mid-Atlantic region. So again, high pressure dominating this part of the nation, rain-free conditions, and very hot from the south central states across the Mississippi Valley into the southeastern states. Remains on the pretty much pleasant side, northeastern and northwestern corners of the nation. Well, speaking of the northeastern, northwestern parts of the nation, here we are beginning the day on Wednesday. Notice all the cooler than normal air out across the northwestern U.S. and still some cooler than normal air this morning hanging on across New England. It does get quite warm this afternoon, however, up in that part of the area, but a lot of above normal conditions right now over the Mississippi Valley, really extending from south central Canada all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. It is a warm day today, and then we have a couple of cold frontal systems to deal with. Here we are now going into the day on Thursday. As has been the case for much of the spring season, there's still more cooler than normal air upstream that has prevented any kind of a sustained heat wave certainly for the northeastern part of the nation, and indeed the Pacific Northwest as well. And here we go into the day on Thursday. We have a cold frontal system right here. Really, there's a series of cold fronts that work their way to the south and east over the next couple of days, paving the way for what will be just a spectacular air mass for this time of the year over the Great Lakes, over the Mid-Atlantic, northeastern U.S. This is the Saturday morning forecast map of 850 millibar temperature anomalies from the 6Z run of the GFS. Beautiful air mass for this time of the year. It'll actually be quite cool in the overnight hours. Late Friday night, late Saturday night, even late Sunday night in this part of the nation. Windy conditions as well. Certainly a noticeable wind on Saturday and on Sunday as well out of the north or northwest. But at the same time, we enjoy pleasant conditions, low humidity levels in the northeastern part of the nation. It's pretty hot, very hot across the south central U.S., deep south, and all the way into the southeastern part of the nation. And we'll move ahead through the upcoming weekend. And this air mass hangs around not only Saturday and Sunday, but really into the day on Monday. Very pleasant temperatures and humidity levels hang on for another day on Monday in the northeastern part of the nation, but very hot in the middle of the nation, cooler than normal out west. Let's go a couple days farther down the line. It's possible that some of this very, very warm air, the hot air down across the deep south, makes it in advance towards the mid-Atlantic region, let's say by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We'll go all the way out to Wednesday, and indeed here we have, at this particular time, warmer than normal conditions extending all the way from the central part of the nation into the mid-Atlantic region. That's by the middle of next week, but that follows a very, very nice weekend for much of the northeastern part of the nation. Well, now let's take a look at the 6Z run in terms of the vorticity maxima at the 500 millibar level. We saw the radar loop a moment ago where there's a couple of batches of showers and thunderstorms, one associated right here over the upper part of the Midwest with that little bit of vorticity that you see right here. And look at this area of energy right here. This is kind of a spin in the atmosphere associated with that forefront shower and thunderstorm, the batch of showers and thunderstorms. And again, the flow aloft, northwest to southeast. So this is really the flow in this kind of a fashion, right like this, with high pressure just centered over in this region. Remember, winds blow clockwise around high. So all of this activity over the upper Midwest, over the northern Great Lakes can certainly swing all the way around and reach the Mid-Atlantic's I-95 corridor region later on tonight, midnight, wee hours of the morning. Don't be surprised to hear some rumbles of thunder, especially across upstate Pennsylvania. Some of that activity can make it all the way into the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philly to New York City late tonight. We're talking after midnight into the early morning hours on Thursday. Now, let's move ahead here and watch the development here of another area of vorticity over the western Great Lakes by tomorrow. And there certainly can be some strong thunderstorms associated with a cold frontal, the arrival of a cold front in the northeastern part of the nation later tomorrow into tomorrow night. And that's on top of the threat of strong thunderstorms late tonight. Really kind of two different systems here. One that could cause some showers and thunderstorms in the Mid-Atlantic region late tonight, and then another round of activity possible later tomorrow into tomorrow night after a possible lull on Thursday morning. Notice also at this particular time we have a ridge of high pressure right in this region right here, centered over the Tennessee Valley. Very, very hot right in this whole area here. Again, some areas will experience a triple-digit high temperatures over the next several days from the south central states to the Mississippi Valley, the Midwest, all the way into the southeastern states. Places like Huntsville, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia certainly can see some 100-degree highs over the next several days. Let's move forward here. The vorticity here will be associated with a secondary cold front on Friday right at this particular time, and then pave the way for what will be a spectacular weekend for the middle part of June in the Great Lakes, in the Mid-Atlantic, in the northeastern part of the nation. Meanwhile, it stays very hot right here across the central U.S. and extending all the way into the southeastern states, but cooler than normal and more active than normal in the western U.S. This is what we call kind of an omega type of upper air pattern as we begin the upper weekend, because it tends to resemble the Greek letter omega. It's quite unusual to see this kind of a upper level pattern with a lot of strong ridges, a lot of strong upper level lows as we get into the summer season. We're only a few days away from the official beginning of the summer season, so still very active weather pattern for this time of the year. This is cool and perhaps wet for the western U.S., and this is cool and very pleasant conditions for the weekend in the northeastern part of the nation. But right here, high pressure dominates, and H is the appropriate letter for hot weather as well in this part of the nation. Well, now let's wrap up with the surface forecast map from the operational run of the GFS at 6C. And notice the greens here and the yellows and reds. This is associated with that batch of showers and thunderstorms we saw at the upfront, the onset of this video, over the upper Midwest and over the northern Great Lakes. Again, all moving around the perimeter of that high pressure ridge. And some of this activity right here spills on over into the mid-Atlantic region. Later on tonight, we're talking midnight and beyond to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Certainly can be some strong thunderstorms that move first into northern and western Pennsylvania and then can translate all the way down into the I-95 corridor region. Really anywhere from D.C. to Philly to New York City could experience some showers and thunderstorms late tonight going into the early morning hours on Thursday. Then there'll be perhaps another round of showers and strong thunderstorms late tomorrow into tomorrow night. Even the chance for some severe thunderstorms both late tonight and again with the second round late tomorrow and tomorrow night. And then there'll be another frontal system. Here we are into Friday morning. You notice right here a little kind of a kinkiness in the isobar pattern right here. There's actually a secondary cold front. Initial cold front arrives late tomorrow night. Then there'll be still warm conditions on Friday, and that's because the real push of cool air comes following this secondary cool front. This is the midday Friday forecast map. Can spark another shower or thunderstorm on Friday. And then take a look at this. By the time we get to Saturday morning, we have strong Canadian high pressure over the western Great Lakes, a fetch of air pushing northerly winds, northwesterly winds, definitely noticeable winds on Saturday into the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast U.S. This entire area will experience a beautiful air mass for this time of the year, not only on Saturday, Sunday as well, and even into Monday. It hangs on with extremely comfortable temperatures and humidity levels. Meanwhile, suppressed to the south is very, very hot weather right here, extending from the south central U.S. to the certainly the southern half of the Mississippi Valley into the Midwest and the southeastern U.S. Again, cities like Atlanta right here, Huntsville, Alabama can have some triple-digit highs over the next several days. But again, a beautiful, beautiful weekend coming to the northeastern part of the nation. Here we go all the way into Sunday morning. You have a continuation here of some breezy conditions. Look at this tight isobar pattern here out of the north to northwest. High pressure still holding back over the Great Lakes. Again, spectacular weather both Saturday and Sunday in the Mid-Atlantic, the Great Lakes, the Northeast U.S. Continuation of hot weather. Perhaps confined a little bit, suppressed a little bit down to the deep south from the southern plains to the deep south to the southeastern part of the nation. Ultimately, this high shifts to a position here off the East Coast, and we'll see that here in a moment. By the time we get to the early part of next week, here we are by Monday evening, and that high pressure travels from the western Great Lakes all the way to the western part of the Atlantic Ocean by the early part of next week. This is the Monday evening forecast map. Again, winds flow clockwise around highs, and that will promote a southwesterly flow of air on the backside of that high. And some of that hot weather, that hot air mass that will basically reside over the south central, Midwest, southeastern states over the next few days, some of that can make an advance to the north and east by the time we get into the middle of next week. Let's go out another couple of days here. This is Monday evening, and here we are by Tuesday, and then finally by the time we get to Wednesday. But notice also we still have this northwest flow aloft, and that is really fighting hard to prevent any kind of a sustained warm-up in the Mid-Atlantic region. Certainly in New England, they'll stay relatively normal through the first half of next week. But again, there'll be a battle zone going on in the Mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Could see some of that hot air trying to make an advance, perhaps 90 degrees, let's say by Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon in D.C. Be harder to make it all the way up into New York City, though, with that northwest flow aloft during the first half of next week. So still a very active weather pattern across the nation. A lot of very hot weather, south central states, the Midwest, deep south, southeastern U.S., Beautiful weekend coming up in the northeastern part of the nation, but a couple of rounds of showers and strong thunderstorms for the mid-Atlantic, eastern Great Lakes, northeast. Late tonight, early tomorrow, then kind of a lull for several hours, and then another round late tomorrow and tomorrow night. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.